The Frog and the Nightingale by Vikram Seth. Born in Kolkata in the year 1952, Vikram Seth is a well-known Indian writer who is now settled in London. Some of his famous writings include The Golden Gate, A Suitable Boy, An Equal Music, and Beastly Tales from Here and There. The Beastly Tales from Here and There is a collection of 10 fables written in poetic form. Some famous fables, such as The Hare and the Tortoise, The Crocodile and the Monkey, and The Frog and the Nightingale, are included in this collection. In the poem, The Frog and the Nightingale, Vikram Seth portrays the behavior of human society through animal characters. Let's now listen to the poem. Once upon a time, a frog croaked away in Bingle Bog. Every night from dusk to dawn, he croaked on and on and on. Other creatures loathed his voice, but alas, they had no choice. And the crass cacophony bled out from the Sumac tree, at whose foot the frog each night minstrelled until morning night. Neither stones nor prayers nor sticks, insults or complaints or bricks, stilled the frog's determination to display his heart's elation. But one night a nightingale in the moonlight, cold and pale, perched upon the sumac tree, casting forth her melody. Dumbstruck sat the gaping frog, and the whole admiring bog stared towards the sumac, rapt, and when she had ended, clapped. Ducks had swum and herons waded to her as she serenaded, and a solitary loon wept beneath the summer moon. Toads and teals and tiddlers, captured by her voice, cheered on enraptured. Bravo! Too divine! Encore! So the nightingale once more, quite unused to such applause, sang till dawn without a pause. Next night, when the nightingale shook her head and twitched her tail, closed an eye and fluffed her wing, and had cleared her throat to sing, she was startled by a croak. "Sorry, was that you who spoke?" She enquired when the frog hopped towards her from the bog. "Yes," the frog replied, "you see, I'm the frog who owns this tree. In this bog I've long been known for my splendid baritone, and, of course, I wield my pen for bog trumpet now and then. Did you like my song? Not too bad, but far too long." The technique was fine, of course, but it lacked a certain force. Oh, the nightingale confessed, greatly flattered and impressed, that a critic of such note had discussed her art and throat. "I don't think the song's divine, but oh, well, at least it's mine." "That's not much to boast about," said the heartless frog, "without proper training such as I and few others can supply. You'll remain a mere beginner, but with me you'll be a winner." "Dearest frog," the nightingale breathed, "this is a fairy tale, and you're Mozart in disguise, come to earth before my eyes." "Well, I charge a modest fee, oh, but it won't hurt, you'll see." Now the nightingale, inspired, flushed with confidence and fired with both art and adoration, sang and was a huge sensation. Animals for miles around flocked towards the magic sound. And the frog, with great precision, counted heads and charged admission. Though next morning it was raining, he began her vocal training. "But I can't sing in this weather. Come, my dear, we'll sing together. Just put on your scarf and sash. Coo-oo-ah, coo-ash, coo-ash." So the frog and nightingale journeyed up and down the scale for 6 hours, till she was shivering and her voice was hoarse and quivering. Though subdued and sleep-deprived, in the night her throat revived, and the sumac tree was bowed with a breathless titled crowd. Owl of Sandwich, Duck of Kent, Mallard and Milady Trent, Martin Cardinal Mephisto and the Court of Monte Cristo, ladies with tiaras glittering in the intervals sat twittering, and the frog observed them glitter with a joy both sweet and bitter. Every day the frog who sold her songs for silver tried to scold her. "You must practice even longer till your voice, like mine, grows stronger. In the second song last night, you got nervous in mid-flight, and my dear, lay on more trills. Audiences enjoy such frills. You must make your public happier. Give them something sharper, snappier. We must aim for better billings. You still owe me 60 shillings. Day by day the nightingale grew more sorrowful and pale. Night on night her tired song zipped and trilled and bounced along, till the birds and beasts grew tired at a voice so uninspired, and the ticket office gross crashed, and she grew more morose. For her ears were now addicted to applause quite unrestricted, and to sing into the night all alone gave no delight. Now the frog puffed up with rage, "Brainless bird, you're on the stage. Use your wits and follow fashion. Puff your lungs out with your passion." Trembling, terrified to fail, blind with tears, the nightingale heard him out in silence, tried, puffed up, burst a vein and died. Said the frog, "I tried to teach her, but she was a stupid creature. Far too nervous, far too tense, far too prone to influence." Well, poor bird, she should have known that your song must be your own. That's why I sing with panache. Coo-oo-ah, coo-ash, coo-ash, and the foghorn of the frog blared unrevelled through the bog. The Frog and the Nightingale is a poetic fable with a satire on the human behavior. In this conversational poem, Vikram Seth has shown animal characters embodying different human traits. The poem opens up with an introduction to a frog who lived in a bog or swamp and croaked in an unpleasant voice right from dusk to dawn. All the creatures in that bog hated the frog's loud and unpleasant voice. However, they had no option but to listen to him as he sat near the foot of the sumac tree every night and sang till morning. The animals threw stones, sticks and bricks at the frog and even complained and insulted him. Sadly, nothing shattered the shameless frog's determination, who sang with great pride. And then one night, a nightingale came flying and sat on the sumac tree under a cold moonlight, and started singing in a melodious tune. Her melodious tune left both the frog and other creatures of the bog dumbstruck. They all got completely engrossed in the nightingale's song and kept on looking at the sumac tree where she was sitting. Finally, when her song ended, all of them clapped. The ducks swam and the herons waded towards the nightingale appreciatively as she sang. However, the frog, who is referred to as the solitary loon or lonely mad person, wept as he was unable to bear the admiration the nightingale received. Delighted by the nightingale's voice, the toads and teals shouted, "Bravo!" "Too divine!" and "Encore!" The nightingale was new to such a kind of applause, and so she once again sang non-stop till dawn. The entire event left the frog very jealous, and he decided to get rid of this new rival, the nightingale. The next night the nightingale prepared herself to sing again. This preparation is indicated by the lines, shook her head and twitched her tail, and closed an eye and fluffed a wing. Just then she was interrupted by a croak of the frog, to which she politely asked him if he had something to tell her. On being questioned, the frog jumped towards her and said that he owned the sumac tree. This also indicates the frog's strong territorial behavior. Adding to his conversation, the frog boastfully said that he was known for his splendid deep voice and had also written songs for the bog trumpet. Hearing this, the timid nightingale asked the frog whether he liked her song. The frog arrogantly replied that her song was not bad, and her technique was also fine, but it was too long and it lacked some force. The nightingale was flattered that such a noted critic had discussed her song and her art. She also said that though her song was not divine, she was happy that it was her own creation. Proceeding the conversation, the dominating frog told the nightingale that she must not boast about her talent. He also said that he could give her training, which would help her emerge a winner, else she would always remain a beginner. The nightingale was impressed and told the frog that she could not believe her luck and felt as if it was a fairy tale. She felt that the frog was like the great composer Mozart, who had come to the earth in front of her eyes to teach her. The crafty frog immediately replied that he would train her, but also charge a nominal fee, which will not hurt her. That night, the inspired and confident nightingale sang with great art and adoration and became a huge sensation. Her magical voice attracted animals from miles away, and the frog made a business out of it. With great precision, he counted the heads of animals who came and charged them an admission fee for the nightingale's song. The next morning there was a heavy downpour. Despite the bad weather, the frog began vocal training and forced the timid nightingale to sing, although she was unwilling. The nightingale was probably feeling unwell, and so the frog asked her to put on her scarf and sash. The frog and the nightingale sang continuously for 6 hours till she was shivering and her voice had become rough, unclear, and shaky. Though the poor nightingale had little energy and was deprived of sleep, her throat somehow revived at night and she was able to sing again. That night, The audience included royalty such as the Owl of Sandwich, the Duck of Kent, my Lord and my Lady Trent, Martin Cardinal Mephisto, and the Court of Cristo. The poet had very cleverly created the names of the birds similar to real aristocratic titles. For instance, the Duck of Kent is a reference to the Duke of Kent. My Lord and my Lady Trent are actually my Lord and my Lady Trent. Similarly, there are references to Cardinal Mephisto and Count of Monte Cristo as well. The aristocratic ladybirds came wearing the beautiful tiaras and chirped merrily during the interval. The frogs saw them glitter with both sweet and bitter joy. Sweet because he had earned more money at the ticket counter, and bitter as he wanted to perform and become a famous singer. Every day the dominating frog who had traded the Nightingale song for money scolded her to practice for longer hours till her voice grew as strong as his. He also remarked that the previous night in her second-last song, he felt she had gotten nervous. Moreover, the insensitive frog told her that she should lay more stress on trills, a technique used by a singer to sing two musical notes one after another. The frog felt that the audience enjoyed such musical tactics. Further, he told her to make the audience happier by singing sharper and snappier tunes. The money-minded frog also reminded the Nightingale that they needed to earn more, since according to him she still owed him 60 shillings. Disheartened by the frog's scathing comments, with every passing day the Nightingale grew very sad and pale. The fatigue of the Nightingale began to show in her singing as night after night her tired songs became quick and unsteady and could no longer attract the crowd. In other words, the Nightingale just tried to finish her song as fast as she could and get done with the job. Her voice became dull and uninspired, which crashed the earnings at the ticket counter due to poor attendance. As a result, she became more miserable. Since she was used to abundant applause, the absence of a praising crowd gave her no delight to sing. All this made the insensitive frog furious. His pride and arrogance is evident in the phrase puffed up with rage. The frog scolded her and even called her a brainless bird, and told her to work smartly and follow the prevalent music styles and sing passionately. The helpless Nightingale trembled and was terrified to fail. With her eyes filled with tears, she puffed up her lungs to sing, but sadly burst her vein and died. After the Nightingale's death, the heartless frog said that he tried to teach her, but she was a stupid, nervous, and tense creature who was easily influenced by others. These words of the frog are very ironic, since he was responsible for the downfall and death of the Nightingale. He also said that she should have known that one must believe in one's own song like him. That's why he sang with such confidence. The frog began to sing again in his loud, unpleasant way, and once again became the unrivaled king of the bog. In this poem, the poet has personified the frog and the Nightingale, who represent two different aspects of human nature. The Nightingale is portrayed as a person who is innocent, nervous, timid, and prone to influence, while the frog is a boastful, cunning, insensitive, greedy, dominating, and an arrogant individual. Moreover, it is an allegorical poem, as the story has two meanings, a literal meaning and a symbolic meaning. In this poem, the innocent nightingale falls prey to the shrewd frog and ultimately dies. The symbolic meaning, however, portrays how naive and timid individuals are oppressed by cunning and dominating people of the society. Thus, the moral of the poem is that one must have self-confidence to succeed. Although the nightingale has a melodious voice, she was foolish enough to take advice from the frog, whom she barely knew. The frog manipulated her into believing that she required more practice and that he could train her. Therefore, it was her low confidence that led to her downfall and eventually her death. In this poem, the poet has also used alliteration in words like Bingle Bog, crass cacophony, 60 shillings, and brainless bird, to name a few. These words make the poem more musical. Thus, through the poem, The Frog and the Nightingale, Vikram Seth has beautifully described human nature and the ruthless and materialistic outlook of society. He has shown how the naive and timid individuals are easily influenced and sidelined by dominating people.